Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For my old subscribers, but if you're just joining me for the first time, this is Life Class Pro and we do all things science in this channel. Now we're going to look at the 2025 NECO biology specimen. We're going to take a look at them one after the other. So specimen A is housefly and the scientific name is Musa domestica. So this is the scientific classification. It's under kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda. It's an insect, yes, order Diptera, family Musidae, genus Musca, and species Domestica. Alright, so looking at the external morphology of this specimen, we should be able to identify the body regions, which is head, thorax, and abdomen, which is one of the most distinct feature of class Insecta. Now, in the head, there is a pair of compound eyes, an antenna, which is short and segmented into three regions. Also, the mouth parts, it is a spongy type, and the labellum is used to lap up fluid. That is, it is used to suck up fluid or liquid. There are three pairs of legs, which can also be called jointed appendages, on the thorax. So the thoracic region contains three pairs of legs and one pair of wing, which is a true wing. It also has the halters, which is like a small knob-like structure that is behind the wing, and it helps for balancing. All right, so the abdominal region contains is segmented and flexible, and it also contains the reproductive and digestive organ. Now, you might be asked to list the importance or medical importance of this specimen. Firstly, it is a vector that transmits pathogen. Yeah, and secondly, its presence and activity on food leads to infection and causes disease when eaten. Looking at the type of metamorphosis or life cycle, it undergoes complete metamorphosis. Now, it moves from egg, which is laid on decaying matter, to larva, which is the maggot, and then to pupa, which is like a protective that has a protective case, and this particular form is immobile, right? Then number 4, the adult emerges from the pupal case. So that is the developmental stages of specimen A. And finally, you can also be asked to draw the specimen. So you draw what you see, you label, and don't forget to add your magnification. Specimen B, spider. Now, the scientific classification of spider is found under kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, it's an arthropod, class Arachnida, order Araneae, and the common name is spider. Looking at the external features or morphology of this specimen, the body is divided into two main parts, which is a very distinct difference between the insects and the arachnid. So spiders are not insects. Okay, so it's divided into two parts. The first is the cephalothorax, or you say the prosoma. Now, it is called cephalothorax because the head region and the thoracic region are merged together. Now, the eyes, they have usually 8 simple eyes, and they have what we call chelicera, which is a jaw-like appendage with fang. Now, it may inject venom, especially in some species. Now, we also have the pedipalp, which is a sensory organ that is also used in mating, especially in males. We have 4 pairs of walking leg, that is 8 legs in total. So in insects, you have 3 pairs, but in arachnids, you have 4 pairs, right? Now, they don't have antenna. That is another distinctive feature. Looking at the life cycle, it exhibits incomplete metamorphosis. Okay, so there is no larva or pupa stage. Instead, it goes from the egg to what we call the spiderling, which is a small version of adult. It can be compared to the nymph in cockroaches, and then it moves to the adults. Now they grow by molting, that is, they shed their exoskeleton or their outer skeleton. Okay, so you may be asked to differentiate between specimen A or B, or you may be asked to make some comparison. Now, we're going to be looking at the features of spider against insects. So for spider, the body region is divided into two parts, like I mentioned before, the cephalothorax and the abdomen. But for insect, it's divided into three: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. Now for number of legs, spider has 8 legs, which is 4 pairs. Meanwhile, insects have 6 legs, which is 3 pairs. Now, antenna is absent in spider, but it is present in insects. And we are using the housefly as an example. Now, there is no wing. Spider don't have wing, but we have wings in housefly, usually 2 or 4. Spider has simple eyes, 8 simple eyes actually, while housefly has compound eyes. Specimen C, pride of Barbados. So this is a very regular specimen in NECO. Okay, so the scientific name is Cisalpina botrima, and it's obviously under kingdom Plantae. It's a plant division Angiospermae, class Dicotyledone, then the family, the genus, and the species. So for other things you need to know, for this particular specimen, the placentation is marginal. So it has a marginal placentation. Then the ovary is a superior ovary. The ovary is a superior ovary. Alright, specimen D, bean seed. So if you wrote WAEC, this specimen would not be foreign to you. It wouldn't sound strange because we treated it. So the name is Phaseolus vulgaris. Sorry, the scientific name is the botanical name is supposed to be in italics and underlined. So it's under kingdom Plantae, division Angiosperma, and these are the classification. The things you need to know about this specimen: it is a dicot plant. Okay, so it has dicot seed. The seed has 2 cotyledons, and the seed is covered. Okay, that's why it's an angiosperm. Now it exhibits the epigynous type of germination, where the cotyledon is pushed above the soil surface as the seed germinates. Now you can see the structure in case you are asked to draw a longitudinal structure of the bean seed. So specimen E, butterfly. So let's look at the scientific classification. The scientific name is Lepidoptera. Now, it doesn't really have a particular scientific name because they didn't specify the species of butterfly. We have a lot of species of butterfly. So just know that butterfly is under order Lepidoptera. So it is a Lepidopteran. Okay. Now, kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, class Insecta. So this particular specimen is related to specimen A, which is housefly. Now the external features to observe. And butterfly have 3 main body parts, just like the housefly. So they are both in the same class Insecta. They have 3 main body parts, 6 legs and 4 wings. And the head comprises of the compound eyes, the antenna, the proboscis, which is a coiled feeding tube that is used to draw nectar in plants. Now it also has the thorax, which contains or is made up of 3 pairs of legs, 2 pairs of wings, the forewing and the hind wings. It also has the abdomen, which is segmented, right? And the abdomen houses the reproductive and digestive organ. Alright, so for the life cycle, butterfly exhibits complete metamorphosis. It moves from egg to larva to pupa and the adult. So the egg are laid on plant leaves. Alright, so they develop into larva, which the one you call caterpillar. Okay, now the caterpillar develops into pupa. At this stage, it is non-feeding. It is in the transformative stage or the transformation stage. Now from pupa or the chrysalis stage, it moves to the adults, which is the butterfly. And this is a reproductive or mobile stage where it starts flying. Feeding and habitats of butterfly. Now the adult butterfly feed on nectar using their proboscis, like I mentioned before. It is found in gardens, forests, and farmland. The caterpillar feed on plants. So that is the feeding habits and their habitats. An importance of butterfly: they are great pollinators. Okay, they help in plant reproduction. They are ecological indicators, and they are that's because they are very sensitive to environmental changes. So when you find butterfly in a certain ecology, it gives you an idea of what is happening in the ecology. When you find a certain number of butterfly, a certain species of butterfly, it can give you an idea of what is happening in that particular ecology. It is a very important component of the food chain. Yeah, because it serves as prey for birds and lizards. Specimen C is crayfish. Now the scientific classification, the scientific name is Procambarus clarkii. Procambarus clarkii. Under kingdom Animalia, it's an arthropod. It has a subphylum which we call the Crustacea, and other classification. Alright, so the body of this specimen is divided into two main parts. We have the cephalothorax, which constitutes the head and the thorax fused together and covered by a hard shell, which we call the carapace. Now, for the abdomen is segmented and flexible, and it ends in a tail fan, which is often referred to as the uropods and tensons. And the uropods and tensons, they fuse together to form the tail fan. Now, it has an exoskeleton, it had protective shell, which we call chitin. Okay. Now, the feeding habit, it is omnivorous. That means it feeds on both plants, animals, and detritus. Now, the habitats, it is mostly found in fresh water. Now, under other identifiable parts, you have the antenna, which is long and is used for touch and balance. We have the antennus, is shorter than the antenna, okay, and it is also sensory. We have the compound eyes on movable stalks. Then we have the mouth part, which include the mandibles for chewing. We have the chelipes, which is like a large pincer, like a claw, right? It is used for defense and food handling. Now we have walking legs, 4 pairs of walking leg, a total of 5 pairs a leg, including the chelipes. Now we have what we call the swimmeret on the underside of the abdomen. It is used in swimming and reproduction. Specimen G, grasshopper. So the scientific classification, the scientific name is Zonocereus variegatus. It's under kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda. It's an insect, and other Orthoptera. So it falls under the class Insecta. Grasshopper have 3 main body regions. That is, if you look at the external features or morphology, just like every other insect. Okay, it has a head that is made up of the antenna, the compound eyes, the mouth parts, and it has a thorax that is made up of 3 pairs of legs and 2 pairs of wings. Okay, now we have the forewings and the hind wings as part of the 2 pairs of wings. Also, the abdomen is segmented. Okay, and in the abdomen you have spiracles. These spiracles are used for breathing. Looking at the life cycle of this specimen, it undergoes what we call incomplete metamorphosis. That means there is no larva, no pupa. So we move from egg to nymph to adults. The nymph, it is wingless and it looks almost like the adult. Now for feeding, it is herbivorous. It feeds on grasses and leaves using strong mandibles. Now habitat, it is found in fields, farmland, and also grassland. Alright, so I'll be treating specimen H and specimen I simultaneously. So H is the humerus of rabbits, while I is the femur of rabbits. Now, let's look at scientific classification of rabbits. The scientific name is Oryctolagus puniculus, which is obviously kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata. It has backbone, class Mammalia, and so on. Alright, if you look at this diagram, you would see a full label of the femur. In case you are asked to draw the femur, You can see the head, the greater trochanter, the shaft, and the groove, the patellar groove. Okay, so the function of humerus, it supports movement of the forelimb, acts as a lever. It provides attachment for muscles of the upper arm. It forms joints at the shoulder with the scapula and the elbow, which is the radius and the ulna. It protects the nerves and blood vessels that pass around it. Now, another thing you need to know about this specimen is that it is part of the appendicular skeleton, so it's appended to the axial skeleton. So both the femur, the humerus, they are all like appendicular skeleton. They are appended to the main framework, the main skeletal framework. Specimen J, orange fruit. It's not a new specimen. The scientific name is Citrus sinensis, and the scientific classification, you can see them on your screen. Kingdom Plantae, it is under division Angiospermae, and so on. Alright, so for fruit type, it's a fleshy indehiscent fruit, and it's called Hesperidium. Now it develops from a superior ovary of a multicapillary syncarpous pistil. Now it's a true fruit, yes, because it develops from the ovary and it contains seed. Now the seed type is a dicot seed, okay, and it has two cotyledon, the testa, which is the seed coat, the embryo, and it is found inside some fruit segments. All right, specimen K, honeybee. Scientific classification, the scientific name is Apis mellifera, and it's under kingdom Animalia. It's an arthropod, it's an insect, so it is associated. So we have a lot of insects in this year's specimen. All right, looking at the morphology, it has three body parts, which is the head, thorax, and abdomen. 3 pairs of legs, which makes 6 total legs. We also have 2 pairs of wings. Now the head comprises of the compound eyes, the ocelli, which is the simple eyes, the antenna, mouth parts, which is the mandible and the proboscis, and the thorax comprises of 3 pairs of legs, 2 pairs of wings, which is we have the forewings and the hind wings. Now for the abdomen, it is segmented and contains the sting. So that's, would you say venom or the sting, the venom or the chemical or the enzyme is found in the abdomen. The abdomen also contains the wax gland and the digestive / excretory openings. Now this part is very important. A honeybee colony has 3 types of individual. We have the queen. We have only one queen per colony. It is a fertile female that is responsible for laying of eggs. Then we also have workers. Now these are sterile females. Their job is to collect nectar, clean, and build. And we also have the drones. The drones are the males. Their function is to mate with the queen. Now the life cycle, it has a complete life cycle, just like specimen A, the housefly and the butterfly. So it moves from egg to larva to pupa and finally adults. Alright, specimen L is land snail, and scientific classification, the scientific name is Achatina achatina. Very simple. Kingdom Animalia, phylum Mollusca, class Gastropoda, and so on. Alright, for the external features, it has a shell, a curved shell, and the shell is calcareous. It is mainly for protection, contains the internal organ. And the apex or tip or topmost part of the shell is actually the oldest parts. Wool circular tones or patterns of the shell. Now we have the body. It is a muscular part that is used for locomotion. It is called the mantle. Sorry, it is not in this slide. It is called the mantle. Now we have the tentacles. there are two pairs of tentacles. Now let's look at how these organisms adapt to their environment. They have shell that protects them against that protects against desiccation and predators. Okay, so that they don't dry up, the shell is present, so it plays a major role in protection. It is slimy. Okay, now that slimy nature aids movement and prevents injury, and the tentacles are adapted for sensing the environment. Okay, so when once the environment seems harsh, it withdraws its whole body into the shell. Now for movement, it moves slowly using the muscular contraction of the feet, which I mentioned before, um, and it secretes slimy mucus to reduce friction. Specimen M, guava fruits. So the scientific classification, scientific name is Pseudium guajava, under kingdom plantae, angiospermae, and so on. It is a fleshy fruit, um, does not split open at maturity, so it is an indehiscent fruit. So it is classified as a berry or a true berry. Develops from the superior ovary of a multicapillary pistil. It's a true fruit that is formed from ovary only. Now it has the axial placentation, in case you are asked. All right, so specimen N is Irish potato. Specimen O is also sweet potato. So I'm going to treat them alongside. So for the scientific classification, the Irish potato, which is specimen N, is called Solanum tuberosum. That's the scientific name, and the classification follows. So the method of propagation, or the propagative structure, is the tuber. Organ type is a modified stem, which is found underground. Specific name is tuber, like I mentioned before. Storage organ is the tuber. Okay, stores starch and other nutrients. And finally, specimen O, which is sweet potato. And the scientific name is Apomia botatas, or batatas rather. So the classification is kingdom plantae, division angiospermae, class Dicotylodonae, and so on. So it is also a tuber. Vegetative structure is tuber. Possesses adventitious roots, and so on. So this is the conclusion on the specimens for NECO 2025. So if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so and share this video to your friends.